I hate doing European previews and I hate watching preview videos because there's too much going on, bro.
Yeah.
In the English Premier League, we're about to watch 380 games over the course of a year. But we've just fucking put that down into a 15-minute video for you guys. So please subscribe, please stay locked in so I can break down these games in a bit more detail. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Lockdown Sports. It's the last rebrand. The last rebrand, I promise. My beard has grown in hibernation, so I brought with me the beard man himself from Shaver Shop, Saj.
So I'm going to be known for this now. This is ridiculous. I do have a glorious beard there. Anyway, thanks for having me.
All right, let's get straight into it. We're previewing all of Europe today. Let's start with England, top four. We're both United fans, so just adjust for inflation a little bit if we've got them a little bit too high. Top four, Saj. Who's winning it this year?
Man, it's difficult this season to predict. Hey, there's a lot of teams I expect to have bounce back years. The likes of Chelsea. I think Newcastle's still going to be in it. But if I were to pick a top four now, I'm going to go City. I'm going to go United with my United bias as second. Liverpool third. And I'm going to go Arsenal fourth.
We talked just before this, and I was hoping that we didn't have too much agreement, but we're starting off that way. I've got United coming in first. Sorry. I've got City coming in first. I may put a little bit of money on United winning, but not that much at this stage. So I've got City, United. Yeah, not the mortgage. Followed by Liverpool, but Chelsea in at fourth instead of Arsenal. I think not having any other competitions apart from maybe an EFL Cup run, I think that'll do them a world of good under Pochettino, especially with all the players they've brought in.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment. Again, there's a lot of teams I reckon I'll have bounce back years this season, so respectable. I can see Chelsea.
Yeah, with United coming in second and City coming in first, is it inevitable that City wins their fourth title? Like, how clear favourites are they? Because I know for somewhat of a fact that we're not going to win the league. So do you expect to have that big gap between first and second like we've seen before?
My guess is currently no. It actually depends. There's a couple of transfers I'm hearing rumors for, and that would change my mind drastically. If Guardiola from Leipzig comes in, I think that changes a lot. It's because you look at that team, and I do think right now they've got it worse. They've lost some key players. You've lost the likes of Gundogan. You lost the likes of Suarez. And the only real prominent signing you brought in is Kovacic. And to be fair, look, he's a technical player. He can become a world beater under Guardiola. You don't know. But with those two main ones gone, and possibly Bernardo, I'm not too sure with him. I think they're a lot weaker than they were last season. So I think there'll be a smaller gap, but I still think they're hands down the best team in the Premier.
The way I see it, we have a long enough sample size now with Pep that whatever problem arises, he's magically solved it. And John Stones was a story of that last season. But I want to go all the way back to what he did with Raheem Sterling. Sterling was this inconsistent finisher. He found a way to maximize the quality of chances and made sure he was always in the right areas. I'm expecting something of a similar development with Kovacic this year, and that's why he's my player to watch. I look at Kovacic, he's an excellent dribbler, but without the product to show for it, I guess. I look at what he can do in a City system where so much of the focus is on other guys. That dribbling threat gets 10 times greater now. Every time he touches the ball, that focus on him isn't there like it was at Chelsea. He'll have a lot more freedom in the system to play. Moving on though, who is your team to watch in the Premier League?
My team to watch in the Prem, it's probably going to be Burnley this season. It's been weird. Unless you're Norwich, it's the winner of the championship has always somehow managed to come to that top 10 their first season in the Premier League. You look at the likes of Sheffield United when they first came up. You look at the likes of Brentford a couple of years ago. They've just somehow managed to pull a miraculous season. I'm expecting the same sort of thing with Burnley. The sort of performance they had in the championship last season was incredible, quite unprecedented. 100 points in any sort of division or league is an incredible achievement. They managed to pull that off. They scored 85 goals last season. crazy thing, 17 goals. Their top leading goal scorer only scored 17 goals. I think the fact that they're able to share the goals around within the whole squad is a dangerous thing to have. And they're playing some real Guardiola ball, 65% possession in the championship last season. They'll be definitely a team to watch.
That's the thing right there. The possession, you don't really see a team attack the championship like that. And that's why you see some of these other teams come up and they have to adapt to the Premier League within 6 months. And by that time, manager's sacked, a lot of shit goes down. But the style of play that Burnley has, it's actually more transferable to a Premier League environment. Is there any team in the Premier League right now, Saj, that you're not really convinced about?
This might be a controversial one in terms of, I just know a couple of people that support this team, but Spurs, I'm a bit worried for them. My main issue is I like Postecoglou. I think he's a fantastic coach. I think he's kind of...
I think you sort of have to, as an Australian, like there's no real option.
Yeah. But I also like the idea that he's a bit of a disciplinarian, but he's not like Jose level disciplinarian. He can have a joke about himself. So, but my two concerns is who's the other centre back with Christian Romero. I think Christian Romero is, in my opinion, especially after last season's performance, is probably the third best centre back in the Prem right now. I think.
I don't know about that. We'll leave that for another day.
I think, but if I see Eric Dyer in a centre back pairing, I think I would lose my shit. But the other big concern is if Harry Kane goes, and we don't know if he is at the moment, but say he buys himself out or goes to Bayern Munich, where do you get 30 goals from? I'm not expecting Richarlison to get hat tricks like he's getting in the preseason, but where do you get those goals from?
Do you not think Son steps up to the plate? Because when I look at Postecoglou, I look at the wide forwards being the main goal scorers as well, as much as a striker, you know, having that freedom to attack. I think Son is a player that Postecoglou will fall in love with overnight.
I think, in my opinion, their saving grace could be the potential of like a Maddison-Son link-up. And Maddison's good. He's a good passer of the ball. He's great vision. But for me, this only is a major concern if Kane does leave, because no matter, even if Son has a good comeback season, 30 goals is a lot of goals to find a hole for. And that's 30 goals that only got them to like, what, 6th, 7th? They weren't even in the top 4.
My big frustration was on the other side of North London. Arsenal. I talked about it last week. I don't mind the signings of Rice. I don't mind the signing of Timber. Kai Havertz, 65 million, brother. 65 million Great British pounds. Do you know how many properties we could buy? Do you know how many starving children we could feed? There is so much wrong in the world that we could just tax the rich. That's all I have to say with regards to that. Because for me, it's not good business. And where you want to play him, I don't think it works. And on top of that, this is going to be a player with the ego of someone that knows he can go to Bayern, knows he can go to Dortmund and be one of the best players in the league over there. So it's not like he's going to be happy with a bench role. He's going to be involved this season and you're going to have to make it work.
See, I know they didn't bring him in to be a striker, but I think he might just end up being that sort of player. For me, the person I'm worried about in that Arsenal team is Gabriel Jesus. He's already injured. We haven't even played the first game of the season. And you look at the people that got behind Gabriel Jesus. We got Nketiah and Balogun, but Balogun hasn't got any minutes in friendlies, so it looks like he's maybe not even very good squad. Where's the goals coming from again? If Gabriel Jesus doesn't fire the way he started like last season, that's a worry. Are you going to chuck Kai Havertz up a centre forward again? Because that's not something rubbish at Chelsea.
Look, I think there is a solution for Arsenal's goals, but they just haven't tried it yet, and it's really pissing me off. I think it's Balogun. Off the back of a great season in Liga, when you send a striker out on loan, you want him to score goals, you want him to contribute to the team, you want him to have best case scenario, a season like Balogun just did. So if he's going to come back from a season like that, not play any major role in preseason, not play any major role in the season upcoming, what was the point of sending him out on loan. You know, the management hasn't changed. The goals of the team hasn't changed. You signed Trossard halfway through the season last year. You clearly need help up front. And if this guy isn't going to stick around, hats off to the team that takes him, because I think he's a frightening prospect, you know.
And there's talks of him being only sold for like 40 to 50 mil. If Rasmus Højlund is getting sold for 72 mil, and this guy scored 21 goals,